We won a car from Mitsubishi with a car that we were given by Mitsubishi. So there was a time in AMS's history where it wasn't all about drag racing. Back in probably like 04, 05, the street racing scene had gotten a little too crazy. It was getting too dangerous, and the Fast and Furious sort of ruined street racing, because before then it was kind of like people who knew and understood what they were doing. Like, it was people who were serious about safety, but now it's like the cool thing to do. Like, when I was in high school in the early 90s, like, I was an outcast. Like, nobody was street racing. So it was just like serious people, but Fast and Furious sort of ruined that. We had been doing like sanctioned drag racing and having success there. We started to dabble into road racing, and I think our first real experience was in 2005. We took the AMS Drag Evo and converted it into a road race car the best we could, and we ran one lap of America. It did really well. I think we came out of like 90-something cars. We came in 7th place. In a car that was basically a drag car that we had converted. So the next year, we had built a dedicated time attack car. TA2 was a Evo 8 that was built from scratch as a time attack car. We won our class, came in 3rd overall, had great success with that car. I mean, won almost every race that we went to. We sold it to a guy in Jamaica, David Somervell, who won like 50 races with the car. The car was legendary. It was great. But in 2008, the Evo 10 came out, and I really think the last Evo was like the Evo 9, because Evo 10 was very computer controlled. It was quite a bit heavier. It wasn't as good for drag racing, but it was like a phenomenal street car and road race car. So naturally, being really into Mitsubishis, we had an Evo 10 and we built parts for it and had a pretty successful program, and went out and we won the Sport Compact Car Challenge in 2008. By this time, Mitsubishi, we were in talks with them. Like, they liked what we were doing, obviously saw we were very capable, and we got given our first car. It was an old press car, blue Evo 10. This was a great time for us because we'd made it. We've been noticed by a manufacturer. I mean, they gave us a car. We started to race it. I think it was making like 450 wheel horsepower, and it was just a good street/road race car. We got invited to this Evo challenge that Mitsubishi was putting on, and the grand prize was a long-term lease on a Rally Art, which is basically like an Evo 10 Lite. So we went out there and just utterly dominated this competition. So we won a car from Mitsubishi with a car that we were given by Mitsubishi. So that was quite an accomplishment. We were pretty proud of that one. But that Evo 10 eventually became what's known as TAX. It was this unlimited class time attack car that we'd run in the Red Line Time Attack series. We had gotten hooked up with a sponsorship with NOS energy drink. So now we were like super official. Everyone thought that we had this unlimited budget, but we were just really good at doing smart modifications and doing everything ourselves. I'd been given a budget of $60,000. We had to buy a rig basically to haul this time attack car all over the place. So I ended up buying the cheapest toter home ever. I think it was $30,000. It was a homemade toter on the back of this Freightliner, and then I found the cheapest possible stacker. We got it all wrapped. I mean, it looked like $1 million. We looked like this professional race team, but let me tell you, every time we came back from a race, it was like $3,000 in repairs to this toter home. It was an absolute nightmare, but we looked the part. But we had built this Evo 10 TAX into this unlimited, just absolute dominating car. We won every single race except one, and I remember when we got that 2nd place trophy, we actually used it as a doorstop. Because we were embarrassed. I'm like, oh, what do we do with this 2nd place trophy? I'm like, let's use it as a doorstop. So that was holding my door open. This car was an absolute beast, and Ivan's going to tell you all about it.
So for me, one of the highlights of my career was being handed this car and saying, do whatever you need to build this thing into a road race car. Whatever you need. I mean, this was my opportunity to rip a car. I mean, we literally took it down to nothing and had it acid dipped. It was awesome. And then to build it back up into whatever you needed to win this competition, it was amazing. It was a lot of work. It was frustrating. I was working with other people. There was some headbutting, but eventually we came up with this car that was so cool. One of the funniest stories, we're building as close to a factory race car as we can. So everything came out of that car. We built everything. We built our own center console. We built our own shifter. We built our own dash, gauge clusters, all of this stuff. One of the fabricators had built this sheet metal dash that went across the top. I don't know if it was a requirement for the class or whatever, but it needed something out there. So he built this sheet metal dash that went across the top. And on my own, I'm like, I'm going to personalize this. So we were sponsored by NOS Energy Drink. They had their specific colors. It was like orange and blue and purple or whatever. So I'm like, I'm going to do something cool. So each one of the panels in the dash, I decided I was going to do a different color or a different type of material. So I ended up getting some ostrich skin orange for the center, and then I did some Alcantara on each side of that, and then all the way at the edge I did some black alligator skin. And I went and over the weekend upholstered this dash. It had foam underneath. I mean, it looked really cool, and I put it on there. And then my partner in the build at the time came in on Monday and saw this dash, and he was so upset. He was like, why would you do this? I'm like, it matches the colors. It looks so good. We butted heads on this thing. He's like, oh, it added all this weight. It's horrible and everything. We did a couple races with it, but eventually he convinced everybody to take it off because the reflection, hitting the window, that orange right in the center was distracting for the driver or whatever. So we ended up converting it to carbon fiber panels instead, which ended up weighing more than my dash. So that was a fun little neat story to be cruising around in this race car with ostrich skin and alligator skin dash. I mean, it was pretty cool. So yeah, my partner in the project was Justin Wild, and I believe who's still running Wild Fabrications. But Justin and we built that car from basically scratch. I mean, everything about it was from scratch. This was our first experience with air jacks. It was our first experience with acid dipping. It was our first experience with like crazy cage, like so many bars. It was insane. Custom built Jersey suspension, custom spec wheels. I want to say we set a trend with the crazy wing we put on there. Like we rear mounted the wing, we wanted as much leverage in the back. So we mounted the wing off the back and we had like cables holding it together. So we did some really, really cool stuff on there to make that car as fast as it was. We custom built a splitter for the front that you could stand on. It wasn't one of these, back in those days, you could buy that APR kit that, sheet metal screwed to the front of your car and had those little cables on it, and if you catch your ankle, you'd about rip it off the car. Now this thing, you could literally stand, like two people could stand on that and it wouldn't budge. I mean, it was such a cool time. We were in an unlimited class. There was nothing. I mean, you had to start with, whatever car you were running, but there were no rules. We were going against some crazy built Subarus at the time. This was when Ken Block first started the whole Gymkhana stuff. So there was the crazy Crawford builds Subarus we were competing against. There was an Acura NSX that was really fast that they did some crazy stuff to. I mean, there were some really nutty built cars, Porsches. Yeah, I remember we we did a shirt at the time, the Iron Maiden themed one where, we had our Time Attack car and in the background there was like a flaming Porsche off to the side. I mean, we really enjoyed, to be able to step into an event that you don't have a lot of experience with and to be able to dominate so solidly just built our confidence up in what we were doing and where we were heading. So Chris Rado actually showed up with the Scion that had a wing on the front and the back. We always made fun of the Hondas. Oh, you're front wheel drive, you got a wing on the back. Well, Chris took that to heart and he's like, look at this. I got a wing on the front. I get that downforce on those front wheels. There were some cool cars and some innovation and some craziness going on. Yeah, we came out on top. That Evo 10, that engine has a bad reputation. It's not very strong. However, the VE of that motor, that's a phenomenal motor. That thing breathes like it's nobody's business, and it just keeps making power and power and power. Being all aluminum, it was lightweight. That chassis was super stiff. I mean, everything about that car was set up for road racing. That was a really good platform for that. So during that time frame when we were doing all this Redline Time Attack stuff, we actually teamed up with a customer of ours, Ryan Gates. Phenomenal driver that he is. He was running the street car version, we were running the unlimited car version, and we would absolutely dominate. I mean, we were always on the podium. So Ryan was fun. Ryan was really fun to work with. There were practice sessions. You go out to the race and they give you like 3 practice sessions. And in each practice session, he would concentrate on a different portion of the track. Ultimately, your times in the practice session kind of dictated when you would be able to go out on track. So he would do well enough to, go out fairly decent, but he wasn't showing all of his cards. So he'd do really well in this section, on this practice session, really well over here, and then really well over here on the 3rd practice session. And then when it came time for racing, he would link it all together. People didn't understand how he could be that fast afterwards. I mean, he really planned it out well. It was a good time.
So we had a phenomenal 2009 Redline Time Attack season. And it wasn't all the car. We had 2 great drivers. It was Mark Daddio and then Paul Gerard. If you don't know, the Stig for the American Top Gear was actually Paul Gerard. It was released, I don't know, probably 5-10 years ago or whatever it was. But we had some great drivers. We had a great team, made a great showing. Unfortunately, I think we did so well. We actually lost our sponsorship after 2009. I think that NOS Energy Drink just realized for a cheap amount of money, they got the maximum. And it was basically all downhill from there. And I really think that the 2009 season was the pinnacle of time attack racing, because the next year a team came out, Sierra, and they had this Evo 8 that had $80,000 suspension. They came with a full-on race rig. I mean, they had like Indy style, pit boxes that they would pull out. I mean, this was like a very well-funded. And it became, basically, Unlimited became a rich person's game. And while everyone thought that like AMS had this unlimited budget, we actually did things like pretty cheap. We had the cheapest rig out there. We made it look good. And I think that was kind of the end of Time Attack being like more grassroots, especially from the Unlimited thing. So we actually ended up, in 2010, we retired the car. We ended up selling it to a guy who had at a local racetrack, like a private racetrack, Autobahn Country Club. He ended up keeping it at his garage, and we did some maintenance on it, and he would take it out for track days and stuff. But the TAX is no longer out there running around that I'm aware of, out dominating races.
This month of VINwiki content is brought to you by Bridgestone, and the most exciting news out of Bridgestone is the new release of their Turanza Prestige tire. It is their flagship Grand Touring tire, targeting luxury SUVs, crossovers, and sedans, like a Mercedes S-Class or a BMW X7. And this gives you all the whisper quiet ride that you want in a high-end luxury experience, as well as the wet and dry weather performance that we love from Bridgestone. And you'll get some of the greatest longevity they've ever had on street tires, 70,000 mile limited warranty. So we love Bridgestone for their sports car and supercar tires in the Potenza range. Of course, the Dueler AT Ascent that I've got on my Porsche Cayenne, I absolutely love. But whatever you're looking to find tires for, Bridgestone has something great. So check them out now at the link in the description below to learn more about the Bridgestone family of tires.